Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Tom's Gadget Garage. Today I am at Phoenix's South Mountain with the VMAX VX4 to see if this scooter has what it takes to get to the top of this mountain. And if all goes well, we're going to be looking at approximately 18 to 1900 feet in elevation gain, and that's assuming that we can get to all three lookout points today. Now for today's ride, I do have the top speed limited to 20.4 miles an hour, which is as close to 20 miles an hour as I can get in the settings. And that's typically what I do with all of my single motor commuter scooters. That way we have our best chance of making it to the top with some battery remaining in the tank to get us back down the mountain. Now I will be tracking today's ride with Garmin GPS. That way we have an accurate and consistent way to track this ride. And at the end of this, we'll compare our stats and see how we did. Now to start this ride out, I am in eco mode. See how far we can make it. Nice thing about eco mode on this VMAX VX4 is that it does have the same top speed as sport mode, which is unusual but a very good thing, because a lot of times with scooters, eco mode, caps you at a slower speed. And for me, in a lot of my rides, it's not a very realistic speed mode. But with eco mode on this VX4, we can definitely take advantage of that full top speed. It's just you have lower torque and acceleration. But we'll see how well eco mode does, and if we need that extra power, we'll bump us up into sport mode. Now today's video is just one of a series of videos that I've made on this scooter. I've already done our range test, our extreme hill climb test up at 23% grade. I've done our first impressions feature overview video. So if you haven't checked that out, I will include a link in the description below. Anyways, this is going to be our endurance hill climb. And, the grades aren't terribly steep here, 10 to 12% in the steepest parts. But what this is an endurance test. Seeing, what this scooter is capable of, riding up almost 9.5 miles of nearly continuous incline. So we'll see how we do today. This thing has got a 500 nominal watt motor, which is capable of cranking out 1600 watts of peak power. In terms of battery, it's a 48 volt system, 13 amp hour battery, good for 624 watt hours of capacity. So not only are we going to see, if this scooter has the power to make it up today, but also whether or not it's got enough juice in the tank to make it to all three of our lookout points, which I'll tell you right now, there's been quite a few scooters that I've tested that haven't made it all the way up because they run out of battery or they run low on battery by the time we get to the top. But so far, cruising around in eco mode, we're maintaining a solid speed. Obviously, I don't see what you see with the GPS data on the screen, but what I'm seeing here on the display is about 18 miles an hour, 17, 18 miles an hour. And that's in eco mode, folks. We still have sport mode, and sport mode is going to give us all that extra torque and acceleration. One of the nice things about this scooter is the fact that not only does it have, battery bar readout, it's also got a percentage readout and a voltage readout. I've ridden scooters that don't have voltage readouts, and voltage readouts are a really good way to get an accurate read on how much juice you still have in the tank. Coming up this windy road here, I'm curious to see if we put this in sport mode. Oh yeah, you can definitely feel the difference. As soon as you put that into sport mode, the speed kicks up. Anyways, I'm gonna drop us back down into eco mode. This scooter that we're riding today does come in 3 battery variants. Right now we're riding around on the LT version, which has got a 13 amp hour battery. So it's the smallest battery variant. They've also got the ST with approximately 18 amp hour battery. And then you go up to the GT, and I believe that's got about a 23 amp hour battery. And so that's one of the really nice things about VMAX is they make a lot of their scooters in, multi-sized battery options. So if you really like the scooter, but you want a little extra range, you definitely have that opportunity with VMAX. And now we begin a grueling hill climb up this mountain. Once we get up and over and on the other side of the ridge, we'll have a little bit of relief. But this is a long, drawn-out section here. So I'm going to go ahead and get us into sport mode here. Give us a little extra juice in this section. So you can see we definitely pick up the speed in sport mode. So if you're looking to maximize range, eco mode's the way to go. But when the going gets tough, you've always got sport mode you can switch into to power through. Beautiful day today. It's been really windy. You know, we had some storms roll through. It was a great opportunity to take this scooter out and ride around in some really cold, rainy conditions. The scooter did fantastic. It does have the IPX6 water resistance rating, which puts it at the higher end of the water resistance ratings for scooters that we see on the market today. A lot of times we'll see, you know, IP54, IP55, IP65. So it's nice to see this has got that IPX6 rating. So, you know, if you're cruising around and weather turns on you, you know, you got a good shot of making it through without damaging your scooter. So the first lookout that we're going to be going today is Dobbins Lookout. It's about 5.6 miles up the mountain from our starting point. And then assuming we get to that, we'll head on over to Buena Vista Lookout, second lookout. And then assuming we get to that, we'll head on over to the final lookout point, Gila Valley Lookout. And so it's quite the climb, 9.5 miles approximately to all three. I don't know if you're picking it up on the microphone, but it is a little bit of a windy day today, so we're cruising right now, no throttle, just gravity doing all the work. We'll have plenty of opportunity for that on the way down, where we'll be able to test out the brakes on this scooter. You know, this thing comes equipped with a drum brake up front, a disc brake in the rear, as well as electronic braking in that rear motor. So we've got quite the setup on this scooter. This is going to be one of the steeper sections here. Give us a little preview of what's to come. So far, so good. Made it right through that. Clear on the right, clear on the left. And as you can see, about 12 miles an hour, I put us into sport mode. Immediately kicks in the power. So we have arrived to our first lookout point. This is Dobbins Lookout. We'll go take in the views for a few seconds, and then we'll continue on to our next lookout point. All right, so there's our VMAX VX4. As you can see, these trees blowing, it is quite the windy day today. A lot of headwinds coming up here. And there's our views. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and resume our trip. So distance-wise, all the way up to this lookout point was 5.85 miles. And looking at the battery, we've got about 53%, 54% battery remaining. Voltage is at 47.8. So we're definitely running this battery down. We'll see how we do at the second lookout point. You know, that's gonna really give us a good indication of whether or not we're gonna have enough battery to make it up to the top. One thing I'm always concerned about coming up here is running out of battery, you know, and getting stranded. The road is closed. You know, today's Silent Sunday, so they actually closed this road to automobile traffic, and the cell phone, you know, reception is really spotty up here, pretty much none. This VX4 does have full suspension, so we've got, you know, front fork hydraulic suspension up front, and then we've got, you know, a rubber suspension in the rear. And the dampening on this scooter is very good. There's no clunking or anything like that. It's a very quiet operation. And it's been doing a good job of absorbing all the lumps and bumps in this road today. All right, we'll bump us up into sport mode here, give us a little extra power to make it through this little climb. I will be doing a night ride on this scooter, so stay tuned for that. We'll cruise around, probably Tempe, Arizona. It's always a nice place to ride around at night. Lots of cool things to see. We'll test out some of the navigational features in the app, see how well that thing gets us around. All right, folks, we are now at our second lookout point. This is Buena Vista Lookout. Let's check out the view here today. Woo! A little less windy on this side. There's our VMAX VX4, and distance-wise, we've made about 7.5 miles up to the second lookout point. So it's about 2 miles left to get us to the last one, to Gila Valley Lookout. And that's going to be a little bit of a hill climb. Let's see how much battery we've got. I'm showing 46%, so we're cutting it close. But we're going to do it. We'll go ahead and head on out. See if we can squeeze out one more lookout point from this 13 amp hour battery. But I've got to say, this VX4 definitely has a very smooth ride to it. You know, I especially like the fact that the suspension is so quiet. You know, that's one of the things that I look for in scooters, is a nice quiet suspension, because, you know, it allows you to enjoy the scenery a little bit without having to listen to a bunch of metal on metal clunking. You know, some scooters don't have very good dampening, and, you know, I think that's one of the, you know, little changes that companies can make, you know, to significantly improve the riding experience, you know, for folks. So anyways, hopefully scooter companies take note. All right, this is where we make our left-hand turn. We are clear. As you can see, you know, you got the little up and down roads ahead of us here. So that's a little preview of what's to come. I don't know if you can see it, but we got our antennas there at the top of the mountain to the right. By the end of this, will be more or less on the same level as those. So, all right, here's a little bit of a climb. It's going to be a ridge we're going to go over here. This is what eats up our battery on the way up. This is one of the steeper sections. Let's see how we do in eco mode. Looks like 11 miles an hour or so on the display. Steep section ahead. You can see the little winding road there. Still in eco mode. Here we go, we're pushing. See how we make it through this. Oh, we're making it. Let's just bump into sport mode here. There we go. Speed's creeping up. And we made it on through. Go ahead and drop us back down into eco. We got a little downhill section here. Always got to be cautious coming around these corners, because you got a lot of folks barreling down the mountain, which is the fun part, of course. You know, other people are doing hard work today, you know, pedaling up this mountain, getting a good workout, and here I'm just cruising, baby. There's the antennas there. That's what we see from all over the Phoenix Metro on a clear day. You know, we're coming up on the anniversary of the Phoenix Lights, the UFOs and stuff. I don't know if y'all believe in that. But anyways, there's some weird UFO sighting with some lights flying in pattern back in the 90s. Freaked a bunch of people out. Nobody knew what it was. You know, then, you know, probably next day or so, they said, oh, it was just some flares. Yeah, the flares were flying in a pattern across the valley. That makes a whole lot of sense. Anyways, that anniversary is coming up. But I think it passed over this South Mountain area. You know, maybe we got to come out here at night sometime, go find ourselves some UFOs. That'll make for some great content, me getting abducted by some aliens. All right, anyways, I'm over here yapping. We're powering through this really well. I know, obviously we're in sport mode, but we just went through the steep sections. I'm over here getting sidetracked with UFOs. We've made it through the steepest parts. Here we go. This is the last of the difficult stuff. And hey, we're right on through. Look at that view out there, those mountains. You got fog and everything. That's why my windows were all fogged up this morning when I woke up. It's clearing out of the valley, but anyways, I haven't seen that out here. We'll get some pictures. All right, folks, here we are. Gila Valley Lookout, South Mountain Preserve. We officially made it to the top on the VX4 LT. All right, folks, check it out. Beautiful views. Got the fog clearing out of the valley. Some neighborhoods down there. It's always nice coming up here. In terms of our distance, 9.44 miles. And we made it up. Let's go check out our battery. %, 46.1 volts. So that's a pretty accurate readout. There's those antennas. We're more or less on their level at this point. So quite the hill climb. Once we get to the bottom and have ample opportunity to test out our brakes, hopefully we make it back to our starting point. We'll take a look at the data, take a look at our elevation gain, all that fun stuff. So, all right, folks, so we are heading back down the mountain now. This is going to give us ample opportunity to test out the brakes on this scooter. And as I was mentioning, we've got a disc brake in the rear. It's a 160 millimeter disc. We've got a drum brake up front, and then we've also got electronic braking in the rear motor. So we've got all three types of braking types on this scooter. You know, a lot of times it's a big debate, you know, do I want drum brakes? Do I want disc brakes? Well, this scooter, you get all of them. We're definitely fighting a little bit of a headwind right now. Normally at this point we're screaming down the mountain, but it is really windy. Little windy roads here up ahead. We've got a little bit of a climb, and then we'll get over the ridge, and then we'll go into another downhill section. All right, here's our climb. I'm going to put us into sport mode, give us a little extra oomph on the way up this. And we are up and over. And I'm going to pull over to the side here. That's one thing I never do on these rides, is I just ride by all these beautiful places and never stop to take a look around. I'll head on over to these rocks here. Do a little excursion, so to say. Make sure we don't have any snakes or anything here. All right, looks like we're good. Oh. All right, look at this. Beautiful. You know, I've been up and down this mountain dozens of times, and I've never taken the opportunity to just pull over to the side of the road and take a look around. There's those antennas, another view of those. We were just at that lookout point way up there. Anyways, nice little view of the Phoenix skyline. So head on back down. Yeah, that's the amazing thing about the desert, you know, it's absolutely beautiful, and there's just awesome views around every corner. Something that I really like about this scooter is the fact that it's got a functional rear kick plate, which I think with any scooter is an absolute must, especially, you know, if you go above and beyond 20 miles an hour, you know. It gives you really good foot positioning and just a better overall ride stance. All right. Got a left here, clear, clear. We're good to go. Keeping a close eye on our battery. Just want to make sure we have enough to make it back to our starting point. You know, this VMAX VX4 is very easy to control. You know, especially coming into tight turns like that. And the suspension's doing a really good job of absorbing a lot of the bumps and cracks in the road that we've got up here. So here we go. Woo! As you can see with this VMAX, you know, it's a single motor scooter, but it's able to tackle hills, no problem at all. You know, I've had my eyes on VMAX scooters for quite some time. I've been watching them from the sidelines, and you know, it was always my intention to pick up one of these scooters, and you know, thankfully the folks at VMAX reached out not too long ago asking if I'd be open to reviewing their scooters, and you know, I was absolutely thrilled. You know, I've heard a lot of great things. You know, I've seen some pretty epic range tests with these things, especially the larger battery variant, the GT, and people, you know, raving about this thing, and I can absolutely see why. You know, this thing's got really good suspension. Let me just move us into sport mode to get us up this hill. But this thing's got really good suspension, really good handling. They got the caster in the front wheel, which basically makes this thing feel like it's riding on rails. It's got a decent brake setup. One of the best displays I've seen on a scooter that's got actual, you know, relevant information for us. You know, wattage, battery readout, voltage, the whole 9 yards. And it's got a user-friendly interface in the menu system. A lot of times you get these P settings and you got to carry your manual around you to figure out what you're modifying. With this, you know, they've got a really nice plain English user interface, which makes it really easy. Like I mentioned earlier, we've had quite a bit of rain the last couple days, and it's supposed to rain all week next week. You know, that's crazy. But I've mentioned that because I always want to watch out for any kind of gravel that might have washed into the road. A little gravel there. Also want to keep an eye out for potholes. I know there's some that are like in the middle of the road, usually in the shadow of the mountain, so. Nice little downhill stretch here. This thing handles beautifully. No throttle, we're just cruising right now. Gravity doing all the work. All right, where's that pothole? There it is, gigantic pothole. Almost drove into it while pointing it out. That would have been excellent. Hey, where's the pothole? There it is, bam. All right, I'm gonna pull over to the side here. Got some really good views. Here we go. Another view of the valley. Mountains out there, you got our saguaro cacti, some neighborhoods, people out and about hiking. There's a lookout point up there. I don't know what that is. I've actually never been to that particular lookout point. I don't know if that's open. Well, maybe we'll go hike up there one day. I don't know. There's actually quite a few abandoned lookouts that have closed in like the 90s. All right, so we gotta loop around this little hairpin turn, and then it's gonna be lots and lots of downhill mountain curves from here on out. All right, folks, this is the fun part. Coming down this mountain. A lot of uninterrupted stretch of road ahead. And I'll tell you right now, it is awesome riding on these curvy roads, because down at the street level in the city, you know, Phoenix metro area is built on a grid system. So, you know, everything is square and right angles and just not very fun. All right, another pothole. All right, we are clear of the potholes. Now we can have a little bit of peace of mind. Beautiful views coming into these turns. This is such a fun scooter to ride around on. Very stable, as you can see, no speed wobble or anything like that. Even going into turns where you got a lot of these bumps and cracks in the road. Woo! Definitely beats sleeping in on a Sunday morning, I'll tell you that. Nice fresh mountain air. Just carving it up on a scooter. You know, one thing I'm noticing is that like the handlebar height, you know, I'm about 5'10", and handlebar height's perfect. You know, it really gives you solid control of this scooter. You know, yeah, I was actually riding another scooter last night that had a higher handlebar setup, and yeah, I never really thought about it. But cruising around on this thing with this handlebar height, I mean, this is just perfect for me at 5'10". Let me pull over to the side. I'm going to show you now that we're, you know, near the bottom of the mountain. I'm going to give you an idea of what we just scaled. So there is the top of South Mountain. Those are the antennas that we were just at eye level with. And, you know, we made it all the way up, and now we're almost done with our ride. And this frickin' scooter here exceeded my expectations. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't thinking we were going to make it to all 3 lookout points with this 13 amp hour battery, you know, 624 watt hours of capacity riding up a mountain. Anyways, nice little idea of what we're cruising around in today. But anyways, there's the VX4. Really, really impressed with this scooter. All right, let's get going. I got to make it back home. My wife has got to go to work, and my daughter and I will find something to do all day. We went to the park yesterday for like 3 hours. That was fun. We'll probably do the same today. Little test of the handling of this scooter. We've got that caster on the front wheel, so we got a very stable, predictable ride with this thing. You know, look at that. We went over that speed bump. You didn't hear any metal clunking or anything because they've absolutely nailed the dampening on this thing. Very fun, easy to control scooter. But yeah, you know, I'll include a link to all the videos in the description below so you can see all the adventures I've taken this thing on. And if you do want to pick one of these things up, I will include a link and any available coupons in the description below. And if you use that link to buy the scooter, it absolutely helps support this channel. Keeps the wheels moving on future reviews. All right, folks, so there you have it. That was our climb up Phoenix's South Mountain. On this particular ride, we went 17.2 miles. We had an average moving speed of 17.6 miles an hour, max speed of 24.8 miles an hour, elevation gain 1,903 feet, and we were cruising around for about an hour and 15 minutes. Now, in terms of our battery life remaining, looking at the screen here, I'm showing about 13%, 44.2 volts. So not too shabby, especially with all the fun I was having on the way down the mountain there, but very impressive results with this scooter. You know, it made it up, no problem at all. You know, going through the steepest sections, I was over there talking about, you know, UFOs and stuff, and I kind of lost track, but because this thing was just, you know, trucking along, no problem at all. Handling down the mountain's absolutely fantastic. The suspension does a really good job of absorbing all the lumps and bumps in the road. So, you know, this thing here is the real deal. Super impressed, and kind of sad that I didn't get into VMAX scooters earlier on, but Anyways, let me know if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, concerns in the comment section below. And as always, thank you so much for tuning into Tom's Gadget Garage. We'll see you next time.